I'm Samantha from the Singapore Fintech Association, and thank you for joining us today for this webinar on opportunities in fintech and digital trust in Switzerland. So Switzerland has ranked first in the Global Innovation Index for consecutive years between 2020 to 2023, and is globally recognized for its strength in innovation, trust, and cybersecurity. With a rich history of neutrality and privacy, Switzerland provides a stable and secure environment ideal for technological advancements, which is attractive for both startups and investors. The Canton of Vaud, located in Western Switzerland, is a key player in the country's innovation and cybersecurity landscape, with over 2,000 technology companies employing over 50,000 skilled talents. This region is home to Trust Valley, a collaborative initiative that fosters excellence in digital trust and cybersecurity and brings together academic institutions, businesses, and governmental bodies to create a secure digital environment and drive advancements in cybersecurity. So today, we have invited speakers from InnoVault, Trust Valley, and Unlimit Trust to share with us an overview of the Vaud region, Trust Valley, and the Unlimit Trust campus, as well as DC Law to share points on doing business in Switzerland. Lastly, DS Box will be sharing a success story of a Singapore company expanding their business in Switzerland. The Q&A will be at the end of this session, but feel free to submit questions using the chat function throughout the webinar. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Clarence Ho from Enterprise Singapore, followed by Ms. Liv Minder from the Switzerland Global Enterprise to kick us off with some introductory remarks. Mr. Clarence Ho, please.
Thank you very much, Samantha. And thanks also for all the Singapore enterprises and startups that are joining us in this webinar today. Let me first start by also giving a deep appreciation for our Swiss partners and speakers for their support. First, extending it to the Canton of Vaud, to InnoVault, to Trust Valley, to Unlimit Trust, and DC Law and your Switzerland-based partners, MCE Advocates. Really, without your participation, I think we will not be able to do this webinar today and to bring the information and exciting opportunities to our Singapore companies. Of course, I would thank Singapore Fintech Association as a close partner for today's webinar as well. Just for a start, we really see Switzerland and Singapore having a very close relationship, and this goes back all the way to the 1830s. And our relationship continued to change. And although we have similarities like in sectors of interest and growth, with regards to finance and banking sectors as an example, we continue to look forward to look at new areas where we evolve and find new areas of partnership together. Now, in this current day and age, there is a high priority on the area of AI, on the use of data, and hence data protection and privacy will become increasingly important. And Switzerland adheres to Europe's GDPR and operates a cybersecurity center in Geneva, while Singapore's PDPA provides strict data privacy regulations to protect our consumer privacy, which is supported by our cybersecurity agency. So as cyber threats continue to become a commonplace, we believe there are many opportunities, therefore, for Singapore and Switzerland to really partner mutually and to grow in this area of trust tech. And for this reason, we believe that we will have to only do so by building more bridges of trust through partnerships, especially with countries like Switzerland. The Canton of Vaud will be an ideal first location also for Singapore startups looking to take their first steps into Europe. And given the conducive, innovative, and supportive ecosystem that the Canton of Vaud has, we believe that this will be an exciting place for us to find new friends and partnerships. So with this, I'd like to wish all of you having a great session today, that there will be a fruitful sharing, there will be a lot of insights exchange, and more importantly, that we can foster new collaboration opportunities going forward. With that, I thank everyone and have a great discussion. Thank you.
On to Liv.
Thank you very much. And also from my side, I'm from Switzerland Global Enterprise. We're promoting Swiss companies to go abroad, but also supporting foreign companies to come to Switzerland. And therefore, I'm excited to welcome you also from our side. I just have one a couple of very few slides to show in order to highlight or introduce Switzerland as a business location. Let me just share. Excuse me. So, sorry. So I think I can't right now. I can't share. Oh, here. Excuse me. So I would say for you, maybe you have the good thing about Switzerland and Singapore, we are much alike. We're small, we're beautiful, we have a lot of things to offer. I think I would like to tell you a bit how you can use or make use of Switzerland as a business location in various ways. One is it's a good access to the European market or to markets itself. It's centrally located. Sorry, the technique is a bit, it's centrally located. Excuse me, techniques. So it's centrally located and it has access to all the regions. So I think that is very important. And also often not so common is that Switzerland is in itself very accessible. It's very small. You can work in Zurich, in Bern, of course in Lausanne, in Geneva, and everything is very closely linked. And I think this is one of the part of the recipes of Switzerland's success also in innovation, because you have various clusters, various capabilities, very narrowly clustered together, and you can speak to everyone available in Switzerland very quickly. So here, let me just summarize a bit the essence in Switzerland that you get. It's on the one hand, it's the market access to Europe. You're very quickly everywhere in Europe. You have the innovation capacities, which is a dense network of all the skills. It goes from health to IT to robotics, and of course also to finance. And you have process optimization, which you can do, of course, as well. If you think about international setups of your company. An important element, I would say, is really the access to Europe, because there is a lot of EMEA headquarters based in Switzerland. And if you can convince these EMEA headquarters about your products, be it in Fintech or in your industry, then you can actually roll out to Europe very quickly, because if they're convinced, you will have it also in whole Europe. I would say that should be never forget. Another thing is, which is interesting, you can always bounce back to, is like to finding talent. Switzerland is one of the is a country where people like to live and where talents are easily attracted. So you can swim in the river over lunch, or you can go for a hike on the weekend. Everything is possible, and I think this is important for having the best talents around you to develop your company. So the economic framework that we have in Switzerland is a very liberal one. If you look at Europe, there is it's of course in the middle of Europe. Switzerland complies with the regulation of Europe, but it is very liberal. So you can even things are quickly set up on a digital way, but also you can hire staff, but also you can let go staff. So we have basically no strikes. We have longer hours that we work. So I think in this regard, Switzerland is very competitive towards the other European countries. Meanwhile, being very social as well towards the employees and towards the business environment. Most important is Swiss regulation is always looked at the way it should be very pragmatic. The leaner, the better. And of course, that always is a bit of a balance also with applying with the European Union's regulation framework. But the general idea is very much towards leaniness and business friendliness. So if it comes to Fintech in Switzerland, I would say it's a very political, stable country, very trustworthy country, already been said, and the regulatory efficiency is very important. I think the startup ecosystem, which you will hear more from the other presenters, is really stunning, and it's really interesting to tap into. So I would like to thank you for your attention and welcome you also at our offices whenever you have questions or whenever we can support you to have the first or to have a contact here in Switzerland already. So you can find me and in Zurich, but we represent all Switzerland and we would like to welcome you at all times. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liv. Next, Mr. Xavier Filipona, Senior Investment Officer of InnoVaud, will share an overview of the Vaud region.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Liv, for this very kind introduction on Switzerland. Of course, Switzerland Global Enterprise is a key partner of Canton of Vaud, definitely, and thank you as well to Singapore Enterprise and Singapore Finance or Fintech Association for organizing that today. So good morning and good afternoon, everyone, for my Singaporean friends, of course. It's roughly, I think, 2 p.m. or so. And I'm assuming that not many of you know a lot about Vaud or Canton of Vaud. So for this reason, I'm super happy to start with a short video of the region here. So I'm going to share my screen as well. And hopefully you'll be able to see the video I'm going to launch now. Can you see it? Yeah.
Should there be audio? I think you need to share the screen audio as well.
Innovation takes time. It's challenging. We understand it takes ideas, dedication, vision. Above all, it takes people, entrepreneurs who love to innovate. Startups that love to make change. And companies who are not scared of taking risks or wonder what could be. Fostering innovation requires the right environment to flourish. Vaud is one of Europe's leading innovation hubs with a vast number of growing industries. It's where Swiss quality of life, stability, diversity of skilled labor, talent, and academic research are all linked together to grow ideas and innovate. Our ecosystem is rich with diversity, setting up endless possibilities between many different sectors. Health tech and life sciences, food tech and nutrition, digital trust and cybersecurity, aerospace and precision engineering, AI and machine learning, sport tech, drones and robotics, energy and environment technology, all converging to harness each other's high-tech strengths. We act as a bridge between startups, corporates, investors, and entrepreneurs. We understand innovation takes connections, support, and financial incentives. That it takes collaboration, talent, and the most advanced technologies to push ideas forward and bring them to market. That
That's why we promote, invest, connect, and grow innovation. Vaud.
Well, hopefully you could see it and hear it. I don't know whether you had any issue with the video or not, but I'm now happy to share my presentation as well in a few seconds. Here it is. Where is that? That's here and here. Okay. Can you see it? All right. So first of all, of course, by accessing Canton of Vaud, first of all, maybe about myself, sorry for that. So I'm Xavier Philippona, I'm Senior Investment Officer at Innovo. And Innovo is the Economic and Innovation Promotion Agency of Canton of Vaud, of course, the presentation we just saw. And my role within Innovo is to successfully help foreign companies and innovation companies to establish a presence in our canton. So by accessing Canton of Vaud, of course, you're accessing the excellency of Switzerland, and Liv mentioned that Switzerland is super well ranked globally for innovation, for quality of life, to attract talent, to attract skilled workforce, patent registration. We are super good also in economic freedom, in competitiveness, and we are a green country. So that's what I just wanted to briefly highly express here. About Canton of Vaud, of course, it's a hub for business and innovation. So in terms of geographics, of course, Switzerland is into the heart of Europe. You can see here that we are in the middle, so close to Italy, France, Germany, and as well Austria. Vaud is the third largest canton or state in Switzerland. We have 26 states. We are close to Geneva. We are into the French-speaking side of Switzerland. And what I can say is, of course, 1/3 of our population is non-Swiss. We have more than 180 nationalities in the canton, and cross-border are coming to the French-speaking part of Switzerland every day to work, so more than 120,000 people. And if you like to see the video again, here you have the link as well. In terms of industrial sectors, our strengths are into 5 verticals, from energy environment to precision engineering, life sciences, nutrition and food, and ICT. And ICT is an umbrella, of course, industry, which encompasses cybersecurity and fintech as well. So Liv mentioned, of course, headquarters that we have in Switzerland. In Canton of Vaud, of course, we have some of them like Nestlé, Logitech, or Medtronic. Some, of course, developed here for historical reasons. For example, Nestlé was here for more than 150 years. And Medtronic came, I think, in 1996. It's a medtech company. And what they found here is definitely a location in the heart of Europe. It's a highly skilled workforce, it's precision work, and as well connection with technological center. Of course, strong industries and strong companies needs innovation. And in Canton of Vaud, we are working or promoting 16 domains of innovation. So it's really broad, but in your case, what is relevant is AI, machine learning, blockchain technology, and cybersecurity. Of course, all these reports are available on the link below as well, so you will have access to that. How we are organized in Canton of Vaud. We have several technology parks. So some of them are sector agnostic, and some of them are clearly dedicated to specific sectors. For example, Agropole is for agri-food, Biopole for life sciences, Swisspole for space industry. Y-Park is agnostic, but it's mainly for manufacturing. And EPFL Innovation Park. So EPFL is one of our 2 Swiss MIT, if I can say. So it's an engineering school, and it goes from computer science to life sciences to space and whatever. So it's a strong link with this academia. And last but not least, we have Unlimited Trust as well, and Pascal will speak about that in a few minutes. So it's a campus dedicated to cybersecurity and excellence into that field. Of course, innovation and industry could not, shine without, of course, a strong academia basis. And we have a huge and dense network here in Canton of Vaud with EPFL, I mentioned earlier. So we have one of these schools in Lausanne, so that's the L of Lausanne. And the second one is in Zurich, which is the EPFZ. So these two schools are in Switzerland, and we're lucky to have that one in our or on our territory. But we have also the IMD University Lausanne, the Hospitality School of Lausanne, HEIG, and the CHUV as well, which is also a university hospital. So we have huge capability into R&D, and they are spending, these academia, roughly 1 billion every year on R&D projects. And of course, it represents the largest campus for academia in Switzerland, with a pool of talent of about 80 students, professors, and researchers. So it's about 10% of the population. Of course, to reflect the innovation of a region, you also have to have a look at the startups that are growing or emerging on our territory. And if you take the top 100 Swiss startups in 2023, you can see that roughly 1/3 came from Canton of Vaud, 29, and also a huge amount in Zurich as well. And that is linked to the MITs, or the Swiss MITs that I mentioned earlier, that are based into these two locations. So Canton of Vaud is a place for innovation, and these startups also have the chance to successfully grow and became also scale-ups. And the role of Innovo is also to support scale-ups, but I will come back to that in a minute. But as an example of these 45 scale-ups, I can mention Nexthing, who is an ICT company that was created 20 years ago. And now I think they have every year more than 100 million sales and more than 1,000 employees globally. A brief word about Trust Valley, but I don't want to spoil the presentation, of course, of Lenik that will come after that. But Trust Valley is also a partnership between Vaud and Geneva on cybersecurity. The reason why that happened in Switzerland is a risk-averse country, but also it's a market, or a global market, of about 8.5 trillion if damages, could happen from cybercrime. And we are lucky that in Canton of Vaud, Trust Valley can also benefit from EPFL and Unlimited Trust campus. And there are about more than 300 companies into that cluster. Of course, in terms of field of application, it goes from health, finance, ICT, and domain of expertise are AI, cybersecurity, blockchain, quantum. And the Trust Valley is also offering, programs, for companies that are member of this cluster on every single stage of development of these companies. And the only point I want to highlight is the Trust Village, which is also offering a soft landing program to young companies. So that means that you can come to the market, you can test your technology, test your solution, and you don't need to register your company for 6 months. And if you're happy after that, you can maybe prolong for additional 6 months and then establish your company and stay on Canton of Vaud, for example. A brief word on financial support. So Switzerland is not a country for huge money and incentives, but Canton of Vaud is fairly generous, offering in total about 250K, so it's Swiss francs, but it's more or less the same as US dollar and euro, to high-tech companies via 2 envelopes. So the first envelope is for innovation and commercialization. So they are offering 100K to innovative companies for acquisition of IP rights, for participating into international trade fairs, and also developing new markets. And they offer a second envelope of about 150K for training for example, to help young companies to hire people, and that money will go to cover 50% of the salaries during 6 months, maximum 15,000 Swiss francs per employee, and also a support for industrialization, but I don't have the time, I think, to develop that right now. In terms of support from the national level for R&D projects, if your companies are interested into having a jointly project or a joint project with an R&D institute like EPFL I mentioned earlier, so the national level will cover 50% of the R&D cost, and what you have to do is, in fact, for the 50 remaining percent, pay 10% in cash and 40% in kind, for example, having employees working on this specific project. A word on corporate taxes in Canton of Vaud. So the maximum you will pay here in the canton at the 3 different levels, so national, state level, and as well city level, everything aggregated together will not go beyond 13.17% of tax, so which is, for example, I think much less compared to the UK, which is roughly 30%. And you can benefit from R&D tax credit, patent box to reduce, of course, this amount. And depending where you're having your operation or according to your specific R&D project, we could also have tax holidays of 100% about 10 years. Very briefly about Innovo, who we are and what we do. Innovo is in fact the association of Vaud that promotes innovation and business for the canton and state of Vaud. And so we are an association, so we are not the state of Vaud, or we are not the government of Vaud. And what we do, in fact, is helping companies to establish operation. We're a partner for your business. We're about 19 people here, and all our services are free of charge and confidential. So I'm part of the investment team. So my role is to organize visits for companies that want to know more about the canton. So we assess your project and also the location to make sure that it's a good match. We support you as well with the company creation. From everything. So if you need a bank account, if you need also to have a work permit and everything like that, so we are providing support. And also according to your specific needs on workspace, so we are searching for you the right also location for conducting your business, and we connect you with also our internal network here. As I said, that is the invest services, but we are a team of 19 people, and some of my colleagues are also working on the Connect team or into the Expand team. So that means once you're here in Switzerland, it's not the end of the story. It's not a tick in the box. We will continue supporting you by providing services for coaching and also to expand internationally and get success everywhere. So that's what I wanted to say. So of course, here you have my details, and I'll be happy to take any of your questions later on. And I'm also happy just to say a word about the following people that will speak today. You will have Pascal Marmier, who will say a word on the Unlimited Trust campus, and he's also the director of this campus and Innovo ambassador. You will have Lenig Pedron, who will speak about the Trust Valley cluster. You will have Delphine to speak a bit about the regulation or how to create a company. And finally, last but not least, my friend Manoj. I'm really grateful of what he did around this webinar today. And he's the CEO of DSBox and as well, of course, Innovo ambassador. And we are super happy to have these allies with us and ambassador of business in Canton of Vaud, and also enlarging and creating additional connection. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Xavier, for sharing with us some insights on the Vaud region. We now have Mr. Pascal Marmier, Campus Director of Unlimited Trust, who will provide an overview of Unlimited Trust, a leading campus where trust technology leaders and institutions converge and collaborate.
Thank you so much, Samantha. I think that's a great way to do it. Thanks, Xavier. Thanks, Clarence and the team. Wonderful to be here today. As you see, trust is really the anchor of what we do. And the more we talk to people around the world that are coming here or where we're going as a group abroad, the more we feel that Singapore is really the place where we want to strengthen the bridge that Clarence was talking about. So in this regard, think about, the Unlimited Trust Campus as one of your anchor, be it for a soft landing, as you will see later, or growing your company. And this economy of trust was basically anchored in the fact that this campus was created by SIGPA. SIGPA is not a well-known name, including in Switzerland, but it's something that even in Singapore, you're touching every day, or the technology of which you're touching every day, because the company is a leader in security inks, right? And I think it's easy to understand that the kind of trust you put in the most sovereign element of your government banknotes then can be kind of expanded to other elements of traceability and supply chain, right? So a word about the company. SIGPA is based in Canton of Vaud, not far at all from the PFL that was there. It's a company that has almost 100-year-old, but it's been kind of adding a lot of different technologies to its kind of original document security. If you want, it's active in 180 countries, and it's very strong on R&D, right? So you see here, there's chemistry, there's engineering, there's physics, there's kind of different elements that are kind of now converging into what the company does, and it kind of manifests itself into a lot of kind of different new businesses. I know we have a couple of fintech aficionados. I won't go through the entire part, but if you start to the left on the currency level that I mentioned, and you go to the breakthrough level, something like CBDC or central bank digital currencies are very interesting and provide obviously also a bit the strategic output that we're looking at in terms of what we do and what we're trying to achieve, right? So CBDC obviously has layers of identities. You need wallet, you need kind of different elements if you want to make sure that this system kind of has the same sovereignty, the same stability as something that's anchored in currency. So much for SIGPA. Now about the campus. We're really delighted to have been now 1 year of existence. And I think what we're trying to do, you'll see the kind of broader ecosystem, but it's provide a location, a physical location. I know this can look a bit old school if you want, but we think that by kind of connecting people in a day-to-day basis, the magic happens, right? So this economy of trust is kind of first and foremost about finding the expertise, finding the innovation, and making sure that people collaborate, right? The company and the campus is corporate if you want, but we've been working with the public sector. We've been working with academia as well, because we think it's too much of an order to just kind of leave it into the hands of a couple of companies. You'll discover the Trust Valley, which has also its implementation or part of it here. But what we're trying to do is really think about the fact that we need to grow this economy of trust, and again, issues like sustainability, security, traceability are now both physical and digital, right? So what we're looking at is how all of this kind of current technologies can be applied in different ways, right? In cryptography, we have one of the world leader, for example, company doing encryption for the software update of cards, right? Not something you would think about, but it's definitely a really important element. Similarly, we have a hardware lab led by an amazing expert who's been working with the likes of Sony, because he has the experience to really understand how hardware need to be designed to minimize any kind of data leak or any cyber attack, right? When you think physical tech, we have a satellite company here as well, where the issue there they're trying to solve is like make space accessible to kind of new companies and reduce the cost. We have things that are looking at brand protection, physical tech, and I think the new big development is with AI that's kind of embedded into a lot of things of what we do. So how does it work concretely? I think the left part we heard already from Xavier, but really providing a lot of supports to innovators, right? And we're doing it in two ways. For the companies that are here, that are nearby, we tell them, well, come kind of, demonstrate your technologies, come try to see how through incubation programs that we have, or like tomorrow, for example, where we have 85 investors on campus, you can accelerate your business. And this is true as well for foreign companies. We'd love to work with Singapore companies where we offer the same services and the same access to this ecosystem so that you can attack, as we saw with Lee, right, the market, you can expand or you can test your ideas at the touch and in the kind of connections with all of the different elements happening. We do a lot of events, we do a lot of activities, and we obviously kind of continue to also create a learning environment. I just wanted to provide one example, and I like it because it has hardware, it has AI, and it's applied also in the Fintech setting. This is a company that has developed a smart microphone with AI embedded into it, where there's like full control of your data, so that if you're a financial institution, for example, you can start recording your meetings and be fully compliant, not only with the law, with like the ultimate regulation, so that the data really kind of remain yours and there's absolutely no risk that they leak whatsoever. So that's a company that's been starting in the incubator and now growing, raising funds and developing internationally, and they have finance as one of their key elements. A quick look at the ecosystem before we kind of dive in, if you want, just a couple of representative elements. So we have everything on campus or close by. One of the things we're doing with Canton of Vaud is also gathering risk capital or investors. We do it at the early stage with the largest business angel network of Switzerland, and we're doing it at an international level with this tech tour that's gathering companies and investors from all around the world, right? And the final part of it is that we're embedded and we are kind of encouraging a whole ecosystem view. It's not just us here physically and we kind of close a boundary around. It's really thinking about how a space and a campus can be a catalyst for more things to happen. So if you're coming on vacation and you want to spend half a day, we've done some programs. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to test what's going on, we've been hosting fellows. And if you just want to exchange, get a feel for what's going on, don't hesitate. My door is always open. We love to work with entrepreneurs. And with this, I'm going to pass on to my colleagues from the Trust Valley, and you'll see that what we do is really kind of have a global ambition and not just kind of stop. But Singapore is the first, obviously, ecosystem that comes to mind, and we look forward to strengthening our links.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, yeah, just wanted to thank Pascal for that sharing. And up next is Ms. Lennick Pedron, CEO of Trust Valley, who will share an overview of Trust Valley's programs to support international trust, cybersecurity, and fintech companies' interest in Switzerland. On to you.
Thank you very much, Samantha. Let me pass the floor to Lenny, that is now connecting.
While they're doing the handover, I can kind of maybe continue giving a couple more examples. I know Manoj will do the same thing, but on campus, you'll find companies that are simplifying, for example, cybersecurity, automating also a lot of what's going on. The Swiss market is fairly small, so think about those companies as kind of testing, growing, and then having also a lot of programs, activities, and of course, business development abroad. The good news about Switzerland and the Canton of Vaud is that you'll find people speaking almost every language nearby. I think Singapore is the same, right? You basically a hub for the region. So are we. So I think that's why we're happy to host foreign companies. And we have companies also attacking what we call digital trust, right? Identity management and topics that are really looking at how to create this kind of digital economy in a way that's safe and secure. So I finished my part and Lenny is ready. So let's move to her. Lenny, you muted, Lenny. We don't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm very happy, glad to be with you this morning. Thank you, Pascal, for your presentation. I think someone will share my presentation, and I will go further. Thank you for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. My name is Lenny Pedron, and I am the CIO of the Trust Valley. Today, I will be sharing with you what the Trust Valley is all about, and why our ecosystem and partners are crucial, and how we are making a significant impact in the world of digital trust on cybersecurity. First things, what is the Trust Valley? The Trust Valley is a public-private partnership leading innovation hub located in the Lake Geneva region and in global Switzerland, also dedicated to enhancing digital trust and cybersecurity. Our first mission is to ensure that digital growth is safe and secure and responsible. We focus on supporting startups, fostering innovation, and building a robust network of partners to create a secure digital environment. We are what we call a super connector dedicated to digital trust and cybersecurity. We are one of the first ecosystem at a worldwide level. We work again and again on the definition of economy of trust, digital trust, on all around that. And the key mission of the Trust Valley, we have 6 key missions. The first one is referencing. So what we do is we map the key players of the region to leverage expertise. Second, it's really important for us if we are like a cluster with this whole world, but what is really important for us at a strategic level is to work about talent and all the people, all the person who is going on to create this great ecosystem. And what we do, it's really to attract and nurture talent from Switzerland and beyond. And in a lot of our program, we have not only Swiss company or Swiss actor, we really work with all over the world. Then the third topic, the third mission for us is promotion. So what we do, we raise the profile of our skills cluster to attract new strategic players. Then networking, we connect different players in the ecosystem to strengthen our collective impact and foster a thriving digital ecosystem. Then we have some hub, so some real place that we can meet and so on. And what we are doing is really to create this hub development and the complementary facilities to support the growth of startups. Then what we have is some project. So we work on a collaborative project with our partners to advance the field. It's really what we are doing. And about the hub of development, we have 2 hubs dedicated to digital trust and cybersecurity right now in Switzerland. The first is in Canton of Vaud, in Privy, really close to the big academic, the worldwide academic, such as EPFL, École Polytechnique de Lausanne, and so on, and also some other. What about the last mission? It's about project and program. What we do, we are a super concrete ecosystem. What we do to engage our partner, public and private, is really we work on collaborative project with all the partners to advance the field. What we can say is really that we have right now 400 partners that we play, and we have strategic partner. We have 53 partners. Thank you for the slide. Trust Valley at international level, we are proud to say to you that today we have some international recognition. Last year, Trust Valley received 2 international recognition. The first one is that we are very proud to be partner of the World Bank for a dedicated new program, new development of the World Bank to GovTech. So this is governmental technologies, and we are part of the GovTech Global Partnership. And we are working with the Ministry of Economy at global level in Switzerland, and with some other countries like Australia, South Korea, and I think some actors of Singapore are involved on it. And we are super open, very open to discuss that with you further. This program focuses on the knowledge transfer and collaboration for inclusive, secure, and citizen-centered GovTech solution. We were also honored to be one of the 10 global finalists for the SDGs Digital Game Changer Awards that we received from ITU and UNDP, so part of the UN, in the prosperity and economic growth in the category of sustainable economic growth. In this category, we had 450 applications for 90 countries. So for us, this is really what we see after our work. We think that this recognition pushes us at a worldwide level, and we really want that other ecosystem, friends ecosystem, can do the same and open to share what we are doing to push our domain at the world level. About our ecosystem. Our ecosystem is built on strong international cooperation to promote a safe and secure digital world. This webinar is just one of the examples of our collaboration with Singapore, and we have strong ties with the US, for example, where we meet our partners in Silicon Valley, sure, and we have partners on startup in many important different hubs, building a bridge among the different markets with Denmark, Netherlands, Germany, Portugal, also Spain and France, and Italy for sure. In Switzerland, we created a strong ecosystem with more than 400 organizations divided in the cluster, like you heard with Xavier presenting. Here on the map, you can also see the 2 trust village, the 2 incubators we established. One of in the campus Unlimited Trust at Pascal, just before me just mentioned, and another one is in Geneva, in the heart of International Geneva, very close to UN and all this ecosystem. Although not less important, in the years we have created a fundraising ecosystem that connects startup with diverse network on business angel, venture capitalists, and corporate investor from Switzerland and around the world, including Europe, US, Asia, and the Middle East. So we work a lot to create this ecosystem relative to investor, but dedicating our domain. So if you are interested to join us and have more information, we are with the team super open to discuss with you. After that, about program and facilities. At Trust Village, so our incubator, located at the Unlimited Trust campus on Campus Biotech in Geneva, we support early stage startup specializing in digital trust and cybersecurity. And what we can offer to you, our program includes Tech for Trust, Trust for SME, and Digital Trust Forum. What is it? The Tech for Trust is a Swiss acceleration program for boosting startup in digital trust, And I can share with you today that the season 3 is starting in last year with over 100 startups in our portfolio from pre-seed to Series A. We just finished the postulation for the next season. We received more than 130 postulations. We work more and more with AI product on method, on process, and so on. And we foster a lot our ecosystem, so we are always looking for some new startup, new project, not only Swiss, because we are 50-50 right now. 50% of the startup come from Switzerland and 50% come from abroad. And I think we have right now in the postulation for the first year, 3 startups come from Singapore. So stay tuned about that. Our advisory board, we work all September to keep close to 20 to 30 projects, and we will work with them during 9 months. Very intense programs, the Tech for Trust. And I have with me on stage Flaminia, who is the manager of the startup for the Trust Valley. So I'm sure if you want to be in touch with her, she will super open to discuss with you. After that, we have a program dedicated to SMEs. Why? Because 2 things. First, it's super important to foster innovation, to support SMEs. Switzerland, I think around the world, there is a lot of SMEs who are doing the real economy of the country. It's really that what we do with our SMEs. Second thing is that cyber attack and cybercrime is really a plague around the world, and is really an issue that nobody can solve in ourselves. So what we are doing together is really to create an ecosystem and enhance cyber threat readiness for over more than 80 startups. SMB in the region, offering expertise and intervention to improve their understanding of cyber risk. I have to say that we have a lot of foreign delegation who are coming right now in our ecosystem to visit us and to have a better understanding of this program. And what we want to do is the program is doing more, and we will do a spin-off for the next month relative to public sector, and we are open to share our insight about it. Last but not least, we have some Digital Trust Forum, a series of Swiss C-level executive events focused on cybersecurity, providing a platform for peer discussion and innovation. Yeah, it was a feedback from the corporate. You are working with SMEs, we are super happy for you, it's great, it's glad. But what we can do for us? So what we have done is create a new format to create a trust format for the corporate, and we call it Digital Trust Forum. For example, we are working on a trust in AI, trust in finance, trust relative to what we are doing with sustainability and so on. Some recent achievements on that is our startups have been in the spotlight recently. They have raised significant funds, formed valuable partnerships, and received notable awards. For example, Tech for Trust alumni have won several prestigious prizes, and we are gaining increased attention from investor and partner. About the invitation to connect, we invite you to join us in this exciting journey. Whether you want to see our ecosystem in action at our flagship event, Trust Valley Day, or you are interested in visiting us anytime, we are open to welcome you. If you are working in digital trust or fintech, we would love to explore opportunities for collaboration on growth. To get involved, please scan the QR codes, fill out the form, and we will get in touch with you. Look forward to partnering with you and supporting your growth in this dynamic field. Thank you for your attention, and we will be very happy to meet you in Singapore, in Switzerland, or abroad. Still in touch with us, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Back to the organizer. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenik. Next, we have Ms. Delphine Constantine, Managing Director at DC Law, who will share about doing business in Switzerland, how to set up, and an overview of the tax and legal environment.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Delphine Constantine. Delighted to be speaking here after such a fantastic lineup of speakers. I'm a lawyer myself, born and raised in Vaud, and I've been living in Southeast Asia for 20 years now, including the past 8 years in Singapore. So DC Law is my firm. I'm part of the MC Avocat Network. MC is a firm that was founded in Vaud. Our main office is in Lausanne, and we work hand in hand with our 4 offices in Martigny, Lugano, and Zurich, of course. So we do cover all linguistic regions of Switzerland, and we have together approximately 80 lawyers. So that just to give a bit of background on who I am. So the purpose of this session is really to cover some of the key aspects of key legal and tax aspects of investing in Switzerland and in Vaud specifically. Really high level. Obviously, I can't cover all of it. If you have questions, feel free to send them through the chat or to direct them to me after the session. The session is also a little bit biased towards Singapore investors, obviously. So most of it is relevant to investors from other jurisdictions, but really this is aimed at Singapore investors who don't have prior knowledge of Switzerland, excuse me. So Switzerland is a federal democracy, as that's been mentioned, and the operating word is federal. This means that we have, as my fellow speakers have mentioned, 3 levels of government. So the state, the cantons, and municipalities, cities. That's important where taxes are concerned because, as Xavier mentioned, there's some competition between cantons which have some discretion as to how they adjust the tax level. So that's a good thing for investors and for investors into Vaud in particular. We are a civil law jurisdiction which is similar to other countries in continental Europe, but a little bit different to what you have in Singapore and in the UK. Switzerland is an EFTA member state. EFTA is really 4 countries in Europe, and really what's left of countries that have not joined the EU. 4 official languages that's been mentioned, in addition to other languages that are being spoken in Switzerland, including English, obviously very common. So just a word on relationships between Switzerland and Singapore. Switzerland has a historical relationship with Singapore. We have the full suite of agreements that would be expected among trade partners. There's the Singapore-Switzerland Bilateral Investment Treaty from 1978. The EFTA Singapore Free Trade Agreement. So that one is not strictly bilateral. It's bilateral between EFTA states, which I mentioned before, and Singapore. That goes back to 2002. And then the Singapore-Switzerland Double Tax Agreement, which will be relevant to some extent to what we'll be speaking on in a short bit. One key aspect to mention under the Free Trade Agreement, EFTA is also right now negotiating a digital economy agreement in the framework of the existing FTA. That was launched in February 2003, which is also the time when Singapore signed a similar digital economy agreement with the EU. So both the EU and the Swiss Digital Economy Agreement come within the framework of the FTA with Singapore. The EU is a little bit ahead of us, and really we expect both agreements to be quite close in terms the Swiss agreement to mirror the EU agreement. And that's quite important in terms of, for instance, data flow. So we expect an adequacy decision between Singapore and the EU and Switzerland to come within that digital economy agreement, which is really a framework agreement for many things. So Switzerland, like Singapore, is a regional hub, as has been mentioned. Switzerland is obviously a small country and is evidently the economy is embedded into with or in the EU economy, where each other's main trading partners in many respects, and that's also important as for the legal aspects. Some of the EU laws, Switzerland is not an EU member, but to some extent EU laws do apply to Switzerland by reference or indirectly. Many Swiss companies and investors will try to align with EU standards just for practical reasons. So that's quite important to keep in mind. There is obviously an FTA between Switzerland and the EU. So that's also where Switzerland likes to be different. We have a separate FTA than other EFTA members and access through that FTA to a market of 350 million plus people. Switzerland also has 30 FTAs with 40 plus countries outside of Switzerland and outside of the EU and Singapore. A word on the legal system and tax system, which is known for its stability and efficiency. Quick word on how business structures are, which business structures are available. I'm keeping an eye on the time, so feel free to interrupt me, but I'm trying to be mindful of Manoj, who's speaking after me. So the two main structures are the SARL and SAs, which are essentially joint stock companies and quite similar to what we have in Singapore in terms of the PTE Limited. The two are different in terms of the capital requirements, the initial capital requirements. The SA tends to be favored for innovators because the change in ownership is swifter. You can sell upon exiting your shares without any kind of limitations, which for SARL imply the consent of the other shareholders. There's complete economic freedom in Switzerland in terms that foreign citizens, Singaporeans, are authorized to establish, manage, and invest in a Swiss company. There's a minimum of one Swiss resident legal representative. Like in Singapore, you can opt for a nominee if you don't have a legal representative in Switzerland, with some restrictions, of course, but that's an option. In terms of setting up, like Singapore, Switzerland is quite provides a swift framework. We have EasyGov, which is a government initiated initiative similar to ACRA, where you can register your company and then throughout the life of the company continue to operate and the various obligations you have in terms of taxes, social insurance, employee administration, IP protection rights. The registration process is quite swift, not as much as in Singapore, of course, but quite swift and digitalized. It's 4 to 60 days, depending on the structure which you choose, and registration with the commercial registry is 420 Swiss francs, which I reckon is approximately 600 Singapore dollars, so not that far from what we have in Singapore. I won't dwell too much on taxes because Xavier has done a really nice job. Just to say that capital gains tax, the dividends tax, work a little bit different than Singapore. where there's no tax at all. But the BIT, which I mentioned earlier, which is the double tax treaty, does offer some relief for Singapore investors based in Singapore, and for obviously it's a different situation if you move to Switzerland. And if you do choose to move to Switzerland, just a word on permits. Obviously, Singaporeans do benefit from a tax waiver for short-term visits under 90 days, just like the Swiss have the same waiver the other way. There will be in 2025, just to note, the obligation to register before you fly in, just a formality. And in terms of visas and permits, very similar to Singapore, we have Permit B and Permit C, which essentially replicate what we have in Singapore in terms of employment pass, and also the permanent residency, which is similar to Permit C with variations, of course. Just a word, because on the GDPR, it's been discussed before, so I won't probably say too much. I'm sure you're familiar. Singapore has the PDPA, which is a lighter version of the GDPR. Switzerland has adopted a similar law in 2023. Even though obviously Swiss companies try to, as I mentioned, adjust and sort of align with the GDPR for obvious reasons. So the scope and the sanctions are a little bit different, but this is really a level of technicity which I would not cover here. Just a word on, because that's quite important. The EU has adopted this year, I'm sure that's not escaped your attention, a new Artificial Intelligence Act, which has been said to be the world's first major act to regulate AI. I won't get into details, just to say that Switzerland does not have an EU AI Act. Again, Swiss companies will try to benchmark that EU AI Act. Switzerland is also talking of having its own laws, but running behind again. But if that law does come in Switzerland, it's expected to align with the EU Act to some extent. Happy to provide details, maybe offline, to all of you. I'm mindful of Manoj's time, so I'll maybe stop here. These are our contact details. Feel free to contact us or through the chat while the session is ongoing. Over to you, Manoj.
Thank you, Delphine, for all the important information on registration and permits. Lastly, we have Mr. Manoj Thakur, CEO of DS Box, who will provide a perspective of a Singapore company's experience and success story in Switzerland.
Good afternoon, Singapore. Hello from Canton of Vaud, and hello from Trust Village in Trust Valley in Unlimited Trust. Nice to meet my fellow members of Singapore Fintech Association. Thank you, Enterprise Singapore. Thank you, Swiss Global Enterprise, for supporting entrepreneurship. My name is Manoj Thakur, and I will share with you my journey as an entrepreneur. As a founder, I see myself as work in progress. Living in Singapore as a Singaporean, I took a lot of things for granted, like our greenery, cleanliness, and state-of-the-art infrastructure. Having done business in Asia, Middle East, India, and Europe have taught me many lessons, and in particularly the ones from Switzerland, is which I'm open to share. Like all of you, I am passionate, but passion with potential is more powerful, and relevance is even more. I start each day not only with why me or why now, but what for whom and where. Potential is also about scalability. A good idea and a couple of $1,000s can buy a nice holiday, but cannot be used as an excuse to travel unless the growth is strong enough to sustain a business. We are proud of our ideas and innovations, and we often fall in love with our business. I remind myself each day that business is not about me. It is the value I deliver through my business. Revenue is like oxygen. Not all air is same. We learned in Singapore that during the days of haze, the air quality changes. And it was not easy to breathe Swiss air. In high altitudes and cold air is equally challenging and risky. I learned how to breathe and survive in thin air. Some of the best lessons I have learned are beyond self-awareness and reflection. By speaking to entrepreneurs in Switzerland from new markets and learning how they grow their business has shaped my perspectives. Mentoring and advising is a two-way lane, as every mentor was a mentee, an advisor, advisee. Swapping myself has made me who I am today. So who am I and why Switzerland? Please allow me to share some lessons learned. I never felt I have arrived. I find my flow and I take in my loss and win equally. I road test my USP. I go and find new competitors. I validate and invalidate my growth lessons. Expansion is 3 C's: customers, collaboration, and community. No expansion is easy, so I prepare myself. I position my MLP, which is minimum lovable product. Strategy for me is not cast in stone, but discovered in my conversations. Demand is not about solution finding a problem, but one that meets the need of a customer. My obvious is not customer obvious, so I start with markets and work my way through it. Let us connect, learn together, innovate together. And I'm here for you in Singapore and in Switzerland. You can count on me for help and support to land in Canton of Vaud, your gateway to Switzerland and Europe. I am mentoring companies based in Trust Valley and would love to see you in Trust Valley. I'm excited about a company that I want to share I have been mentoring. They are in core banking innovation for digital trust and security in private banks globally. I help ventures navigate the complexity of the market, leveraging the various assets of our Canton of Vaud as an ambassador of Innovo. It has been a great journey for me, and I encourage you to come and join us. And I can't wait to help you. Thank you.
Thank you to all our speakers for your insightful and open sharing. I think we've all gotten a much better idea of the attractiveness of setting up a business in the Vaud region in Switzerland. So we will now open the session up for Q&A. You can either unmute to ask your questions, or if you prefer, you can also submit your questions using the chat function. I think some people have already been asking Q&A questions throughout the webinar. I've also answered some of these. So does anybody else have any questions? Anyone has any questions for our speakers? If there are
Don't
no
be
further
shy.
don't be shy, yeah.
There is a question in the chat.
From Moses. Moses, would you like to ask a question?
For whom is this question?
Hi, Moses. I'm not too sure who you're referring to with regards to a local contact, but happy to reach out to you. I'm Lucas from Enterprise Singapore, and perhaps after I find out who you would like to speak to, happy to help you connect. Yeah, thanks for the question. And Samantha, perhaps if there's no further inputs, because I believe there's a lot of great content being shared today, and there's a few contexts being shared in the slides. We welcome the participants to reach out to us after the session. We're happy to help connect you to the relevant partners to help address questions and to help solidify your interest and decision to operate your startup or business in Switzerland. So perhaps we can also reconnect and connect further through email after this.
I just have a comment, Lucas, if I may. Inovo is planning to bring a delegation of scale-ups. I mean, that's part of, the support from my expand team here at Inovo, and potentially we will come in January to Singapore with some of our scale-ups, and we'll be, of course, happy to be in touch with Singapore Enterprise and potentially also the Singapore Fintech Association to also bring together your people, our people, and maybe articulate a passionate discussion around could be cybersec, fintech, and maybe also other companies from other sectors. That's just, one thing I wanted to highlight to you today, and that will probably take place in January. But I will be back to you separately, and if some of the attendees are interested also to meet my Inovo colleague on this occasion, please feel free as well to reach out to us.
Thank you, Xavier. That sounds exciting, and really we'll be glad to welcome and meet you in Singapore. Then Samantha, maybe over to you to close the session.
Yeah. So if there are no further questions, thank you everyone, and thank you our speakers for the insightful sharing, and thank you everyone who has joined us today. Yeah, please approach us again if you have any further questions or you want to connect with any of the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Samantha.
everybody.
Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.